everybody. That's right, man. Welcome back to the Bowfishing Buzz, episode 79.
79.
Brought to you by AMS Bowfishing and
Megamouth Bowfishing as well. We've got End Designs, Efficiency Lights by Outdoor Innovations USA.
Absolutely wonderful sponsors.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. I am excited to be up here today, Matt.
I am jacked up, Schmitty.
Yep.
We have a great podcast for episode 79. It's going to be fun today.
Yeah.
It's time for a little Q&A podcast.
Yeah. If you guys have been with us in the long run, we did one of these way back. It might have been one of our single-digit podcasts. We're on 79 now, so that one was maybe, I don't know, somewhere 6 to 9 or something like that.
First year then.
Yeah, it was our first year. We were recording with what looked like a potato at the time in that little office room down there. Look at how far we've come. Beautiful. But yeah, I'm very excited because, you know, one of the main things with a podcast is that you are wanting to talk about things that your listeners are curious about.
Right.
So this one, what we did earlier this week is that we each made a post, you on the AMS Facebook page, myself on the Megamouth, and we said, hey guys, the next podcast, today's podcast, is completely up to you.
Right.
We're going to be discussing questions, answers, topics, discussions that you guys are interested in. So everybody who commented on those posts, get ready because we're going to cover it. That's what our outline is today. Is this going to be a Q&A podcast from our listeners?
Pow!
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Before we move on,
Yeah.
I know we got lights on here and they're kind of bright, but
Yeah.
Are those polarized glasses?
Yes, they are.
Are you looking for fish up here?
You talking about these shades that I have on right here, Matt? These guys right here? These bad boys?
Yeah.
You want to know why these are on?
You look like Stevie Wonder.
I think I know who that is. These are on because today is what is
a
today?
podcast up here in the studio.
Well, these actually aren't sunglasses. These are my podcast goggles.
Oh my gosh.
It is April 24th. If you would take a look outside, it's 11:59 right now. It is a beautiful sunny day. The weather's getting warmer. We're 24 days away from the Big 20. You are going down to Louisiana for the Bass Pro US Open. The fishing is good. It is only going to get better. These are on because the bowfishing future is so bright
I got you.
that I got to put these shades on so that it's not too bright on these retinas right here.
Oh my gosh.
So I am excited. When the shades are on, Schmitty's excited for the podcast.
I guess so.
And they're not shades. They're podcast goggles. So
Podcast goggles.
yes.
Here I thought they were some expensive special viewing glasses of the eclipse that you bought, and you just wanted to wear them because you spent so damn much money on them.
No. Myself and Charles Barkley have the same opinion on the eclipse.
Oh, yeah.
No, these are not eclipse glasses. No, they are not.
And if you didn't have no idea what Derrick is talking about there about Charles Barkley and the eclipse, you can go back and see exactly what Charles Barkley said about people going and spending all this money traveling around and viewing the eclipse.
Yes,
It was kind of funny.
Yeah. We won't play it on the podcast here due to profanity purposes, but you just can take a quick note in there. But
right.
So yeah, let's jump in here, Matt. First off, you and I.
Well, first of all, before we begin, this podcast we were going to have JP on. JP Morris from the Bass Pro.
Which we were very excited about.
We're very
that
excited
as well.
about that, for him talking about the upcoming this weekend's Bass Pro US Open, which he's been running for the last 8, 9, how many years.
Event. Awesome event.
And unfortunately, something came up where JP was not able to join us, so we had to move on with the Q&As this week. But yeah, hopefully we get JP on after the tournament maybe to talk about the tournament.
That would be a good thing to have him on too afterwards, just a little recap of it all too. So, but yeah. But going back, Matt, today is what is it? April? What did I just say?
Said the 24th.
We were out bowfishing last week. You and I went out.
Yeah.
Shooting some fish. We were doing a little bit of some product testing, doing a little bit of that stuff. And it was a beautiful evening. It was just good to get back out on the water.
We had the GoPro running up on the globe.
It was ridiculous.
Putting down through the water here.
Yes.
And the sunset was gorgeous.
Yep.
Not a stitch of wind.
No, it was just one of those nights. I said it on the GoPro. When it's December and it's 8 degrees outside and there's a foot of ice on the lakes, it's nights like those that you think back and you're like, oh, I miss bowfishing, man. I really miss that.
Goosebumps start popping on your skin.
Yeah. Fishing was okay. It wasn't great.
The best.
There were fish everywhere. We just couldn't see them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have been out, and then
so when we began, there was not a stitch of wind.
Oh, that's right. The weather.
When we were heading back to the boat landing, at 12:30 or whatever, 12 o'clock, there were whitecaps on the river.
Yeah. Yeah.
It got so windy, and it was terrible.
Yeah. Yep.
Totally backwards of usually what happens. Usually when the wind dies down, it stays down during the evenings, It was crazy.
Yeah, it was sprinkling rain on and off on us there early in the night too, and there were fish there, just couldn't see them, but it was good to get out on the water.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I just recently went out on a bowfishing adventure with Maverick Riley.
Yeah, Wisco Wild Man.
Wisco Wild Man on April 18th, and that was had a lot of fun. It's always fun and adventurous to go out with Maverick. He has his new boat set up this year,
which is just ridiculous. He sends me the snaps of what he can do with as much weight in the boat as he does. Oh my gosh, it's just a wicked setup.
He's got dual mud motors on the back of the thing, and it's awesome. Yeah. It really is a heck of a boat to maneuver around in.
He's up there on the deck, steering.
Yeah,
yeah,
yep. And it's just, we didn't shoot a lot of fish that night. I think we ended up with like 35 or so, is what he said.
Sure.
I took Stephanie, who works here, I took her son along with me, Garrett.
Yep.
He came along with us down, and then we ended up hooking up also down with Mitch Tanner, who works with Chris James on the efficiency lights also. Cool. Mitch is actually one who came up here and helped him hook up all the boats on the AMS boat.
That's cool.
I just recently made the switch over, Schmitty, from the original V1s to the V2s.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
And you know what's so cool about that is, so you have that dial up on the stick of the fan, okay? So you can change colors, you can adjust the dimness, turn it down, and all that stuff. You can see what you're pulling for voltage and stuff and everything. It's really cool. Mm-hmm. But what I find interesting is I just love playing with it. Like we'll be going along, and you're in some grass and weeds, and I love to take those switches to see how far down that weed I can see.
Sure, yeah.
And it makes a difference.
With the different color palettes, you're switching through there. Yep.
And you might not see them very good with like the metal halide style or the whitish colored lights, but man, you switch it to HPS, you can see down a lot further.
And I know there was times when we'd be going along and you would switch it.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'd be like, man, this isn't not here for this environment that we're currently in. This is not the color that we want to go with. So you switch it back to what we had. Then we'd be in a little bit of a different area. There wasn't as much weeds, more of a flat mud bottom. And you'd flip that color and be like, oh my gosh, this color palette that we didn't like where we were before is now 100% the ticket. So that is such an amazing way to adapt to your environment when you're out shooting fish. It's huge.
Yep. And Maverick has the Maxims on his boat.
Okay, the big ones.
Yeah. Yep. And those were pretty slick too.
Yeah. Maximus or Maxim, something like
Maxims or something.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Very cool.
But no, I had a good time. I enjoyed putting around there with Maverick. Like I said, his boat was phenomenal. And the cool thing that I was really impressed with Derrick on his boat, his dual mud motors, was actually very quiet.
Oh, really?
I was totally shocked when we got back and started bow fishing. Putting along the cattails and stuff in the shallow waters, it was super quiet.
Really? I honestly,
awesome.
I would have thought the other way around. I thought it would have been louder than normal.
No.
Wow, that's awesome. Heck of a
setup. Awesome. The fan was louder than that.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's neat.
When you get on the fan and stuff, it was awesome. And then when you're back in there in the shallow waters and weeds and everything like that, they're just right up on plane, boom, just like that. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool.
It was great.
That's very cool. Matt, this weekend is the Bass Pro US Open down in Gonzales, Louisiana.
Oh boy,
everybody's getting pumped up for that. That's one of the biggest tournaments. I mean, it is a spectacle to behold. Mm-hmm. And you are going to be going down there. Are you leaving here tomorrow to go down there?
I'm flying in Friday.
Yes. Gotcha. And you'll have a booth with a bunch of AMS Megamouth type gear and banners and whatnot.
We'll have the products there that Bass Pro sells.
Yes. Yep.
Right there at our booth. So if you're looking to buy some arrows, some line, some rest, some retrievers, some Megamouth stuff, we'll have it there for you to buy. You can't buy it at our booth. You got to take it into the store and of course buy it there.
Right.
But yeah, man, stop by, say hello. I want to see how Bowfish is going for you guys. I know there's teams down there already scouting.
Yeah.
Ooh, I remember those days.
Yeah. and if Matt asks you what you guys are on for fish, you don't even have to lie to him because Matt's not shooting in the tournament.
I don't even care. I'm not going to go out there and steal your fish anyways.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah.
And then, Schmitty, this is so hard for me to believe.
Oh, don't even. I know. It's ridiculous.
We are only 24 days away until the 13th annual AMS Big 20, baby. $10,000 first place.
Yeah.
Right now, we've got, I believe I asked Alyssa today what we had for teams that signed up. We're at 56 teams right now so far that signed up, so that's $16,800 going towards payouts. Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness.
And that 56 teams, we're gonna be sitting with a lot of teams. 56 so
We're
far.
going to be sitting between
only
80 to 100.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be a heck of a turnout. In those dates, we are going to see some big old weights on Sunday morning for sure. So
Yep. And we just had our tournament meeting with the whole crew here. We got their work schedules of what they got to do for Saturday, what they got to do for Sundays.
Yep.
And man, the team here kicks butt.
Yeah, we're getting ready.
Yeah.
And something cool, Matt, actually, that you brought up in our meeting is that this year, you want to just tell everybody about where the carp are going to be going this year, the ones that are being called, and eventually all of the fish?
Yeah, and how cool was that? Last year, we actually had a couple, after all the teams left last year, we're in here figuring out payouts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How far down we're going to pay and everything according to all the teams that are out here right now. And we're actually sitting in the office, the AMS office. All of a sudden, you hear
You'll knock at the door.
on the front of the door here. So I'm like, who the heck? Figured a team,
Sure,
a team
right.
needed something, or a team showed up late and they want to go out or something like that. And I go out there and here's a guy and a gal, and I open the door and I said, hey, can I help you? And they're like, are you having a tournament, a bowfishing tournament? And I'm like, yeah, teams all just left.
Yep. So this was Saturday of the tournament last year.
This was at like 6:30 at night, and all the teams were out of here.
Yep.
I said, they'll be coming. They all left. They'll be coming back tomorrow for weigh-in. So if you want to come down and watch, and we're gonna have coffee up here that you can buy. We got some food that you can buy. I thought they wanted to come and watch or something.
Yep.
And they're like, well, we want your fish. I'm like, oh, you want a truckload full? No, we want them all. I'm like, for what? Well, they raise heifers and beefers and cattle and stuff like that there, and they wanted to use that for their farmland where they all pasteurize and eat.
Yeah, to fertilize the ground.
Fertilize their ground out there with that.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, you can have every single one that you want.
Yeah.
So ever since last year when they came here with the dump truck and a couple trailers, they're coming back with more. They were gearing up all summer for, since last year, they were gearing up for this.
Right.
They're bringing back down a bunch more trailers, a couple dump trucks are here that we unload them with the end loader tractors and stuff. They want them all again, so I think that's just a win-win.
Absolutely, it's going right back into the earth.
Yeah,
I think like you said, what they do is they'll actually
they cultivate,
they work that dirt and then they bury those fish and they cover them somehow.
Yes.
And when they decompose, that releases so much nutrients into that soil to regenerate a cow pasture.
Absolutely,
so that's an awesome way to have that get turned right back around.
Yeah,
and those fish are going to go right back in the ground and benefit.
Absolutely, it's a win-win for the local flowages and waterways here to remove the invasive, the rough fish and all that, the carp, everything out of the waterways here. And then for it to get turned right around, like you said, and being put back in to the earth.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, Matt, I'm going to have to take a swig of water before I read this.
This is pretty, you're going to be excited when you guys hear what we've got here.
Yeah, so I'm going to read off all of the sponsors for the Big 20 this year, along with some of the prizes that are going to be given away here. So, all right, here we go. Sponsors, of course, AMS Bowfishing and Megamouth Bowfishing. We've got a Raptor, Razor, Powertran, Efficiency Lights, Bowfishing Extreme, Hunt Chef, a Matthews V3 bow, Havalon knives, Muddy Flats, Vader bows, Outrigger Outdoors, Interlock, Umarex, End Designs, Arrow LED, Fox Pro, G5, Scent Thief, Dead End Game Calls, the WBA, Oneida Eagle Bows. The Average Joe, of course, goes bowfishing with Corey Brossman. And then also a day or night bowfishing trip in Kentucky with Dennis Redden.
Yeah.
If that is not enough for you to come back to weigh-ins on Sunday, holy cow, we're giving away all kinds of stuff.
And we're working on a really cool prize right here. I'm not sure if we're going to get it finished in time or not, but we're working on another cool prize for that.
Yes.
And that's just some of the stuff that's coming in right now. I'm still trying to get more stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's some nice stuff right there. Schmitty, you and Megamouth were doing a nice little giveaway here.
Yes, we were.
On social media. Tell us about that. What was the deal with that again?
Sure. So what we did there is we ran a giveaway. We gave away a Megamouth through. We figured this is the perfect time of year. Guys are getting on the water.
Yeah.
What a better time of year to give somebody who's maybe been thinking about buying a Megamouth, get them a Megamouth in their hands and make their season.
Yep.
So what we did is we have a giveaway platform that all you've got to do, and I'm sure all of you saw it on social media, you click on our link. We had a big advertised link, win a Megamouth here. You click on this link and you enter your email and you click submit. That is all you have to do to enter yourself. You don't have to, you see giveaways where you got to share the post, tag 3 friends, like our page, bake me some lasagna, all kinds of different things that you have to do. So we did that, and it blew my mind, Matt, how many people signed up to win this reel. We had over 1,000 entries in a 3-week span. Yes. And the cool thing about this email deal is when you sign up, your email automatically gets entered into our e-blast list that is going to give you exclusive deals, discounts, and content on Megamouth gear that otherwise is not. This is stuff that you're not going to see on social media. It's stuff that we may or may not talk about in the podcast. Right. But if you're on this e-blast list, you're going to get exclusive content. The winner of that reel was a gentleman by the name of Benjamin Hubbard. There we go. There we go. That's the applause. The old drum beat there. But yeah, Benjamin Hubbard, he won it. We did I dumped all those emails in, and I did a random number generator, 1 through 1,029, I think was our total. And he was the winner. He's a bowfisher. He likes shooting common carp the most. He's been shooting for 8 years.
Yeah, I thought this was pretty cool. I read his little
I asked him a couple questions there, and he said when he got the email, he had to read it and then go, and reread it again just to make sure that it was the real deal.
That's cool.
So, yeah, congrats to Benjamin. He's got a brand new Megamouth reel.
That's cool.
Be on the lookout for more like that.
One thing that I thought was cool about his little bio and what you wrote up about him, Derrick, was he never shot a Megamouth before.
He had not.
And he always was thinking about doing it, but just never pulled the trigger.
Yep.
And he entered in that drawing.
Yep.
And he won.
Yep. Yes, he did.
And he was jacked up.
Yes, he was. He was super pumped to try it out.
He was jacked up.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. That's
way
very
to
cool.
go. Congratulations, Benjamin. On that. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So that went over so peckin' good, Schmitty. That we thought, hey, let's do it on the AMS side too. How about a free Ringo bow kit,
Brand
baby?
new Ringo, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
So yeah, you can head over right now to the AMS Facebook page. We got the same thing. Win a free Ringo. Click on the link. All you got to do is enter your email address. That's simple. Bing, bang, boom.
Absolutely. You're done. Yeah. Bing, bang, boom.
Yeah.
Entered. And I will say one more thing about this because this is the good thing about this, the email aspect of things. You can't put in a fake email, all right? Because if we enter an email, if you go in there and sign up 3 different times with emails that are not real, the winner is contacted via the email that's entered. So you've got to have an email that is valid. That's how Benjamin found out. Is I sent him a personal email.
Right.
So just so everybody knows, you gotta be legit with that stuff.
And the drawing for the Ringo will be May 15th.
May 15th,
right before the Big 20. And it's so simple, Derrick. And like you said, you'll get exclusive offers as well from AMS Bowfishing.
Yeah.
Content, Bowfishing Buzz podcast, Carbon TV episodes, special deals.
Discount
codes,
yeah,
all kinds of cool stuff.
All of it. Yep.
So
it is a very busy time of year, Matt. Bowfishing is coming in full swing.
Yes.
Another date here, June 1st is the BAA Worlds Battle in the Bluegrass down in Kentucky.
That's going to be a good one.
Oh, absolutely.
Those guys are doing a hell of a job down there. Yeah. Justin Cook and his crew are doing just an amazing job with the BAA, and his crew that he has down there getting that organized are doing a heck of a job.
Yeah.
The money that they have raised through auctions and all that stuff to go back into the payouts is going to be awesome.
Yeah. It's so
I wish
cool.
I was still shooting in tournaments.
Yeah.
That
was awesome. It's very cool. And I got to give a quick shout out here to Force Feed 'em, Max Wadlington.
Yeah.
The video that he posted, the little teaser video that was all over the place. Man, oh man, talk about getting yourself pumped up.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
That was some cool stuff.
Yeah, if you're thinking about shooting in the Worlds this year in Kentucky, or you are shooting in it, you need to go to the BA website, their Facebook page, and watch the video that Max put together. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
pretty cool.
Max
really
is always
neat
putting
stuff.
together really cool social media stuff.
Yep.
So,
Derrick, before we move on, we always, when we're down in production building stuff, we always got the radio playing. We're playing songs and stuff down there, and
where is this going?
You were playing this song like a month ago. I'm like, where the heck do you find these songs? And it's like, I want to be ninja. I want to be ninja.
It's a song about a woman who wants to become a ninja.
Yeah. I'm like, where do you find this stuff? My gosh. So last week, Derrick and I are down building Megamouths. All right. And we started to sing that goofy song.
I'm gonna throw this out there. Matt started to sing it first. Every once in a while, you'll just be walking around and you hear Matt over in the corner. I want to be ninja. He likes it. He secretly likes.
Wow,
the
you
song.
even had to and
gotta have that little bit of a tremor
that vibe on there.
Yep, absolutely.
So we started singing this song, Schmitty. Are you ready?
Oh my gosh!
Are you ready, Schmitty?
We're gonna do this.
All right. You ready?
I want to go bowfish. I want to go bowfish. I'm going to shoot carp down, take them down to Barrel Town. I want to go bowfish. We nailed it, baby. That was not, I can't believe you even just brought this up. I'm like, where is this going?
That was not in our notes. I went in there and handwritten it in mine so I would know, and you wouldn't see it, so you wouldn't know I was going to ask that question about I want to be ninja.
I want to go bowfish.
I want to go bowfish.
Yes. You know, next podcast, we need to do the whole song. We can't just do one verse of it. We're going to have to do the whole thing.
We're going to add on to this. I think we might have to add on to this. I do. I think that was pretty awesome.
And for everybody that's wondering, we were filming last year, just a quick little side note on this. And sometimes, you know, when you're up there on the deck and you're shooting fish, at least I'm always thinking to myself, what could I say to the camera? What could I turn around and say to the camera that would be a catchy little, fun little thing to use in a Carbon TV episode? I don't know if I was delirious from lack of sleep or if I had lack of caffeine. I'm not sure what the deal was.
I think it was from wearing them glasses.
That could have been too.
I think that's what it was.
But I'm sitting there like, man, I know what a really good one is here. So I turn around and I slock a common or a buff. I don't know. Bring it into the boat and I hold it up to the camera and I go, well, this carp just punched a one-way ticket to Barrel Town, baby. And everybody in the boat just kind of looked at me. They're like, oh, that was something else. And now when I go back and look at that clip, I think to myself, what was...
You said that was the dumbest thing I ever said.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Oh, my goodness. I've had a couple of them like that. It's just, oh, man.
And you know what's funny about that, too, Derrick, is if you watched our last episode on Carbon TV, Carp Fun, Common Fun.
Yeah, Common Fun, yep.
You will hear Schmitty say that in that episode.
Matt made sure not to take that out of Carbon TV.
No.
Yeah.
Matt, you know what this carp just did? He punched a one-way ticket to Barrel Town.
Yeah. And you just hear crickets. Yeah. Good one, Derrick. Yeah.
So we had to add that to the Ninja Bowfish song.
Yes, we did. Absolutely.
Shoot carp down, take them down to Barrel Town.
Absolutely. I want to go bowfish.
All right.
Right, yeah. Well, I tell you what, Matt. You know what it's time for now.
Yes, it is time for.
Can you feel the tension in the air right now?
It's time for BAA Records.
I love that little jingle, to be honest with you. I do love it.
You feel the tension in the air right now?
Can you hear all the records that we're about to read, everybody? All right, so BAA Records here. First off, I just want to say I love this name, all right? Congrats to Gabby Boss on her BAA Kentucky State Youth record and BAA Youth World Record, Black Buffalo, weighing 50.2 pounds.
Nice
Holy
job,
cow.
Gabby.
Yeah.
Way to go. Way to go. Moving on, we got Marcus Hirschberger on his BAA Ohio State record Bowfin, weighing 10.50 pounds.
Yeah, nice shooting, Marcus. Congrats to Shauna Littlejohn on her BAA Kentucky State record common carp, weighing 43.9 pounds. Holy cow.
That's a big common.
That
for
is
Kentucky
a big common.
That's a big common.
Yeah.
How about Adam Darnell on his BAA Kentucky State record Mere Carp, weighing 26.20 pounds.
He's always shooting records, Adam is. Seems like we've read his name before.
Wait till you see the next name that you got to read.
I've got Steve Colbrine. Congrats to Steve on. Oh, yeah, we've had Colbrine on here a lot of times.
Shooting records up the gazoo.
Yep. Congrats on his BAA Pennsylvania State record Smallmouth Red Horse, weighing 1.2 pounds.
Nice job. Ooh-wee. How about this one here? Scott Batten Jr. on his BAA Illinois State record Big Head, weighing 97.20 pounds.
What?
Woo! Congrats to everybody on your records.
Illinois State. Holy cow. That is a tank.
That's a big one.
That's bigger than a tank. We need a bigger word for the fish than a tank.
That's a big one.
Good Lord.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'll tell you what, Matt. Now it's time for the meat and potatoes of the podcast.
Ooh, I'm ready for this.
It's Q&A time right after this short word from our sponsors. Are you looking to elevate your bowfishing brand with stunning design solutions? Look no further than N Designs. Their team of talented designers is dedicated to bringing your vision to life. Whether it's t-shirts, hats, leather products, eye-catching logos, to captivating boat wraps, they have you covered. Plus, with their commitment to excellence and attention to detail, you can trust that your project is in good hands. Don't settle for ordinary. Choose N Designs for extraordinary results. Visit their website today and let's bring your ideas to life. and designs, where creativity meets excellence. Efficiency Bowfishing Lights by Outdoor Innovations USA. A color tone adjustable and dimmable light with a unique patented reflector design that puts more light where you need it. Efficiency Bowfishing Lights offer 3 different models: the 65-watt single-color economy light, the 65-watt Efficiency V2 tricolor dimmable light for maximum efficiency and versatility, and the 130-watt Efficiency Maximus, designed to be an all-out beast of a bowfishing light. Efficiency, designed and built by bowfishermen for bowfishermen. Check them out at OutdoorInnovationsUSA.com.
And welcome back to the Bowfishing Buzz. All right, Schmitty, let's start them out.
Okay, cool.
What do you got up there for our first submission of Q&As?
This first one here was asked by Garth Hawkus, and his question was, or his statement was, I'd be interested to hear more about what you look for when scouting and what areas you find fish throughout the year. Matt, you kind of want to take this one here?
A lot of that's going to depend on where you live, of course.
All situational.
What you're shooting, river, big lakes, big inland lakes, boundary waters, flowages, reservoirs. But what I like to do, I like to look for back shallow bays with feeder creeks.
Sure.
That's always one of the first places I like to look for.
Fresh oxygen flowing through.
Yes. You got that flow coming in. And you can also see if, the depth of the water. You can see vegetation back in there. But feeder creeks are always a spot that I really like to look at. That's one of my favorite places to look for fish.
Yeah.
On a lake when I'm scouting. All right. One thing that I think gets overlooked a lot in scouting, everybody's looking for those grassy bays and the vegetation and the lily pads or the cattails and stuff like that there. One thing that I like to think gets overlooked a little bit is like mid-lake humps.
Sure. Yeah.
You hear a lot about that in walleye fishing.
Oh, absolutely.
Mid-lake humps.
Yeah.
It attracts fish. They just attract fish.
Any kind of structure
it's
like
a
that.
protrusion that comes out of a mid-lake basin. And it comes up. Now, of course, walleye mid-lake humps are probably going to be quite a bit different than your...
Right. They're probably a little bit deeper.
They're probably a little bit deeper, where these are going to be more shallow.
Right.
All right?
Yep.
But mid-lake humps are a great place to look. Another thing, and I shouldn't be giving away all my little secrets.
Yeah, you're giving a lot here, to be honest with you.
Islands or points. But I really like the ones that have like long stretches that go out on one end of them. Okay. That's shallow.
Sure.
That it's still underwater, but it's shallow. Okay. You can really see that on maps and stuff like that there. Like, for example, an island, one back corner of it might be deep, but then the other end might have a long finger that stretches way out. That's shallow. All right. What I love to do on those is I like to find them, and I like to go out in the deeper water and push fish.
Sure. Where they're feeling safe in that deeper water. 100%.
I can push fish to that shallow location. And then they're either going to hit that and turn around and come back at me, or they're going to bounce up on top of that flat, and then I can get a shot from there.
Right.
So I like to look for that. Another thing, when you're fishing some big lakes, I'll use Gunnersville as an example. Okay. It has a lot of structure that goes, a lot of large bays that go way back in. Missouri has a lot of lakes like that, where the Truman and stuff like that, where the bays go way back in.
They look ridiculous on a map. It's like, where do I start?
So when you actually look at those on a map, what people do is they're driving down the main lake, watching their GPS. All of a sudden, here's that bay that goes way back there. So they turn and go into that bay. What do they do, Derrick? Almost 99% of the time, what is that boat going to do when he's scouting for fish? What would you do?
Cruise straight to the back of that bay?
Bingo. Exactly. Oh, look, it looks really cool on a map. There's trees back here. There's vegetated grass back here. There's some stumps that are sticking up, which can be good.
Absolutely.
Which can be good. But do not forget to look at those secondary points.
Where that bay starts to curl in like that off the main lake, you're saying? And like anything that's protruding out from the shoreline on your way back.
Those secondary points.
Sure.
You have your main lake points. Then you have your secondary points. Then you have your back bays. Those secondary points can be awesome, but people a lot of times overlook that because they think that you got to head right back to the shallow water.
Right. Yeah.
Which isn't always the case.
Right. Yeah.
That's
a good point.
That's a great place to look at. Also, main lake vegetated shorelines be hot. One thing to remember is when, especially buffs like to be able to disappear fast.
Sure. Close to safety water.
Close to safe water.
Yep.
So they like to dip from where they're feeding along a main lake shoreline, and they're feeding in 1.5 feet, 2 feet of water. They like to disappear and have to be able to go into deep water.
Sure.
So main lake vegetated shorelines can be really good at where they have those certain drop offs.
Yeah.
Can be really good for that. There.
Yep.
Then in early season, we find fish in 2 to 3 foot flats, along last year's cattails, lily pad flats. Rivers can be a great place also early in the season. Mid-season, especially here in the Midwest, can be a little tougher. We do get algae blooms.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Petenwell is terrible at getting algae blooms, where our lights they just bounce right off of the algae. Is so thick.
Yep. That or your lily pad growth and your vegetation growth, it gets to where you can't see anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And like Castle Rock, some of the lily pads are huge. They're like elephant ears.
Right. Yep.
They're huge. You can't see through that stuff.
Right.
You'll be pushing fish. You'll see the lily pads just
bouncing like crazy. You're
but
covered
there's
up.
no fish in there.
Right. Well, there's no fish you can see in there.
Right. So depending on where you get, mid-season can be a little tough. That's why during that time, I head to the rivers.
Okay. Gotcha.
I head to the rivers, or I'll head out of state. Head down and go down in June. I'll go down to Kentucky.
Yep.
And shoot the rivers and shoot the invasive big heads and silvers and stuff down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. But don't be afraid to check out mid-lake humps again. Flowages with stump fields also are a great place. During that mid-season there.
Sure.
Late season, man, I love to cruise over top of vegetation that's in 2 to 5 feet of water. A lot of times those fish will come back into those areas.
Sure.
That vegetation is holding oxygen.
Yep, that's true. Yep.
It's holding oxygen. That vegetation is slowly starting to decay a little bit. You can see
colder weather starting to,
and that water is clear too.
Yeah.
It clears up a lot.
Yeah.
So late season, I love to cruise over top of that vegetation in 2 to 5 feet of water.
Sure.
It's killer.
Yeah, that's
it's killer
awesome.
for late season.
And just one thing here, that was an awesome breakdown, Matt. One thing here, just a quick little thing that I'll add. You go to the water with a plan. You've been looking at a map, whatever. You're going to say you're out on the water and Matt's thinking to himself, you know what? I'm going to hit these secondary points. I've had success on them in the past. This is where I'm going to go. I got a milk run of 5 different spots that we're going to check for fish.
Yep.
Okay. You go check your first one. There's not much there. You go check your second one. There's not much there. On your way to your third one, you just happen to stumble across a little bit of a different layout in the water.
Yeah.
Something that you didn't necessarily think of, but oh my gosh, look, there was fish there. That's interesting. I'll have to note that.
Why is that?
Why is that?
What just happened here?
Yeah. Do not hesitate to take the time and switch your plan if you're doing something like that, and look for areas on your map that replicate that area that you ran into those fish.
Exactly.
You can go check 1 or 2 more of your spots, but if that type of area is not panning out, you got to be able to adapt on the fly and use those fish. Use those little. Oh my gosh! Look, we just pushed a fish out here. We were just on our way to our second spot, and look at all these V's we're pushing here.
Yep.
Find out what that is and try to replicate that for the rest of the night. You could turn a night that maybe wasn't going to be that good into a very good night, and you're going to learn something.
Right.
You're going to learn something.
That's a really good point there, because we made a video on this when we were out in Missouri about this, because this happened a couple years back when we were shooting in tournaments. We were shooting in the Bass Pro US Open, and we were having a hard time finding fish.
Sure.
And one night, one of our boats found some buffs.
Okay. Gotcha.
So we went back out that night, and we looked at that area during the daytime. And then what we did is we went to our maps and found out all the different locations on that river system that had that same type of structure.
Exactly. Case in point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Why that was so crucial down there is because that's when they were 20 foot above summer pool.
Oh my gosh.
That year.
Okay. Yeah.
So that made a huge difference. We looked for spots that looked just like that spot where we found buffs.
Yep.
And you know what? Not everyone had that.
Sure.
But a lot of them did.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. And that benefited you on a tournament night, which is even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's very awesome.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'll tell you what, Matt, how about I read the questions here and you kind of add in your answers to these. Does that work all right for you?
Sure.
All right. So next one here by Clint Murray. All right. What was the first piece of equipment you got that made the biggest impact on how you bowfish now?
People are going to laugh at me when I say this.
Okay.
All right. And I'm not lying when I tell you this neither. A tiller trolling motor.
Really? Okay. All right.
When I first started bow fishing, I had a foot control trolling motor.
Oh, okay.
On my
Yep.
boat.
Yep.
Schmitty, that thing busted me every night I was bow fishing.
Yeah.
My leg,
Yep.
my back, my foot, my ankle. Because, I'm right-hand dominant, so I was always using one foot all the time.
Right.
Versus, I used my left foot all the time. I didn't use my right foot because that just threw me off
Sure.
a little bit, holding my bow. It just
Yep.
didn't feel right.
Yep.
So I used that for probably 4 or 5 years. That foot control. That was before they had the remote controls and all that stuff. This is, I got gray hair for a reason.
Yeah, right. You were doing it back in the day. Yeah.
But man, when we got that tiller on there, that just made a world of difference.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I could maneuver so fast, so much more fast.
Yeah.
It didn't kill me to go out and be able to stand on there all night long and shoot that.
Yep.
And like I said, a lot of you might laugh at me, but, that made a difference. And then I also learned how to use a trolling motor, work slow. I work slow.
Sure.
I'm a slow bow fisher.
Yep.
I will say also along with that, probably one of the biggest things that I've equipment is my cell phone.
Sure. Yeah.
Google Maps.
Yeah. You're constantly showing me stuff on Google Maps. Yes.
I mean, I had a stash years ago of those waterproof maps.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, the actual physical maps.
Maps.
My God, we're throwing it way back
Yes.
here.
You remember those lake maps that were waterproof?
No.
No.
No, I've pretty much been using Google Maps.
Oh, you'd go to a bait store there and they'd have a lake map, waterproof,
I think
tear-proof.
I've seen them.
They're
Sure.
tear-proof and all that stuff, you know, and they had GPS coordinates on them. They had stuff marked on there and stuff. We were trying to find spots using that when we'd go on a trip somewhere out of state and didn't know the body of water. We were doing that. Where now, you can just see so much more stuff on Google Maps.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just crazy.
And that's
crazy.
Just to add to that, Matt, that's funny. I should have asked you about it, but when first year I started working here, myself and a buddy bought a boat. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We went out and bought a used trolling motor for it. Guess what kind of trolling motor
Kyle
we bought?
Wells?
Yeah, Kyle Wells. Me and Kyle Wells went out and bought a boat, and we shot more than we should have. There'd be nights when we were junior, senior in high school. We'd go shoot fish, and we'd roll back with the boat and the trailer, the boat on the trailer behind the truck into school the next day. All right, it was, we just were ridiculous. But we had a foot trolling motor on that boat. And the same exact thing that you just said. And when we bought it, we're like, yeah, this will be perfect because it'll keep our hands free. We'll always be able to just draw back and shoot.
Yeah.
And after about 1 or 2 nights, it's like, oh my Lord.
Yes.
This is tough.
Yeah.
And then whenever we'd have a fish on the boat, if you'd shoot a fish and it'd be wrapping you around the other side of the boat, I don't know how many times I would trip on my pedestal mount of that foot pedal.
Yep.
Too.
Yep. It had that big cord sticking up out of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we had it mounted up on a block. So you had something sticking 4, 5 inches up off the deck.
Right.
Oh.
Yep.
But yeah, that's interesting that you said that. Same deal there.
It worked great if you're bass fishing and stuff because you would put that little pedestal seat behind you and set your butt down. And but when bow fishing, you were standing all night long and then you're
looking down.
Crooked. Yeah. You're standing there crooked because one foot's higher than the other. That was a pain in the butt.
Yep. And with this Clint Murray question here, there's one other thing that I'm going to say, and it's a basic question. I'm more going to approach it from a standpoint of what could I not have with me bowfishing now that if I didn't have it with me, I would feel completely naked. You know what that would be? It's going to sound silly. It's going to sound ridiculous. A pocket knife.
Oh,
just a pocket knife or a line cutter that we have on our boats.
Yes.
You don't realize how many times you use that in a night until you don't have it with you.
Right.
And I think I've told the story on the podcast before. When I was just a green little feller.
I taught you a lesson.
We were down somewhere shooting big heads.
We were on the Illinois River.
Shooting big heads.
Illinois River. We were shooting silvers.
Shooting silvers, whatever I had in the boat there, and I shot through the fish, which we found that sometimes it's faster just to cut your line, retie, than to try to feed it through the fish.
Yep.
I was just a little fella. I looked up on the deck. I said, Matthew, Hey, Matt, can I borrow your pocket knife, please, so I can cut my line? Matt goes, why don't you just use your own knife, little boy? I said, Matt, I don't have a knife. My mama told me that they're dangerous. I don't got one on me. And then these words that will forever be burned into my brain. What kind of man doesn't carry a pocket knife? And from that day on, I have carried a pocket knife.
You do. I look at pictures. Yes, there it is right there. Yep, there he's got his
there
knife.
it is.
There's already.
The old Leatherman, ready to rock and roll.
I look at pictures now of bowfishing pictures like from last year and stuff.
Sure.
And I'll see that little clip hanging out of your front pocket there.
It goes with me everywhere.
Yeah.
Bowfishing, church, to bed. Always
That's a
have.
good story, Schmitty.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good story.
All right. So next question here from Luke Gerke. All right.
Yep.
What is the most important part for all the great people bowfishing to remember to do?
When I saw Luke ask that question, I knew right away what he was probably getting at.
Okay.
Before you go on the water and put the hurting on the fish and fill your barrels, you must have a plan of what to do with those fish.
Absolutely.
When you're done bowfishing.
Yep.
Do not be dumping your fish.
No, absolutely not.
You give us all a bad rap.
Yeah. Yep.
Every bowfisher gets a bad rap because of you.
Yep.
who dump fish.
The 1%, the bad
Yes.
apple, gives the rest of the 99% a terrible look.
Yep.
And that's really unfortunate.
You want to know what really ticks me off? I was going to swear there.
Yeah. We got the beat button. We could probably add it in.
You know what really ticks me off
What's
is when
that?
I'll be down on a river somewhere down in Kentucky or something, and I'll see the skeleton remains of the fish at a boat landing.
Yep.
I can tell that they were set up to take pictures because they're all lined up nice.
Yeah. Yep.
You took the pecking time to take the picture of them.
Mm-hmm.
Down in Kentucky, you can legally go back out in the water and sink your fish.
Yeah.
But you were too damn lazy to do that.
Yep.
You were fine taking a picture with all those fish,
Yeah.
but then you didn't take them back out and sink them.
Yep.
Don't do that.
No, don't be that guy. No one
Because
likes you.
you're not the only one that uses that boat landing,
No,
buddy.
absolutely not.
No.
Yeah. I remember one time we were down in Kentucky and we put in a landing and there were fish.
Yes.
And we picked them up.
We did, yeah.
But the whole boat ramp reeked
Yes.
of dead, rotting fish in the 95-degree sun for God knows how long. It's like, come on, guys. Let's grow up here.
Think about a catfisher people that go out catfishing at nighttime come down there and see that.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all seeing that.
Yeah. What are they going to think of you?
Yeah.
It's not going to be very good.
People that aren't even putting a boat in, they come to a boat landing just walking around and
Yeah.
stuff, and they walk down and they see all that, that sitting there.
Yep.
They're going to ask somebody, well, what was that from?
Mm-hmm.
Why were all these fish washed up on it? Well, they weren't there. Some bow fishermen threw them there and then take them home.
Right. Yeah.
Which I could never understand, like I said, because you can sink them in Kentucky.
Yeah, especially down there. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's terrible anywhere. But down there, it's so easy.
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
easy. So
and
easy.
and along with that is to wear your PFD.
Yeah.
I'm no angel at that.
Yep.
I will admit it.
Mhm.
I don't wear it all the time. I should. But yeah, we all need to do a better job of wearing our PFDs.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Just be safe out there.
Mm-hmm.
Just be safe. Be
Yep.
safe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Next one here is from Lakey Justin Ray.
Okay, stop right there.
Okay.
Stop right there. Lakey Justin Ray.
I was going to say, did you typo this on here or is that that's his name?
What a name.
That's
that
an
is.
amazing name,
Lakey
first of all.
Justin Ray.
That sounds like a dude who should have his own news station.
Yes.
Welcome back, everyone, to 97.3. This is Lakey Justin Ray reporting. That's what that is right there.
What a badass name.
That is pretty cool. Lakey.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But my question is to Lakey is, when they say your name, like, for example, when somebody says Matthew, they're like, hey, Matthew. But with that name right there, do they say, hey, Lakey Justin Ray?
Lakey Justin
Or do
Ray.
they just say Lakey?
It's got to be just Lakey. Lakey packs so much more of a punch. Lakey.
I think it's better with Lakey Justin Ray.
Oh, all right. These are the whole name. All 17
because
syllables.
when somebody says my name, they'll go Matthew Schillinger. They say Matthew. But I would say Lakey Justin Ray, they say the whole name.
The whole name.
Because that's a pretty cool name.
That's a pretty cool name. That is pretty cool. Yep. He's got a name for broadcasting for sure. But Lakey asked a very good question here.
Yes.
After bowfishing all over the country and bowfishing numerous species, would you say you boys are still as excited to go bowfishing today as you were in the first couple of years of your bowfishing journey? I see a lot of guys that kind of been there, done that, and seem burned out. I'm in my 10th year and having just as much fun as year one.
That's a awesome question.
It is a great question.
It's a great question.
And it's great that he's in his 10th year and having just as much fun. That is very cool.
Absolutely. And I will say I did get burnt out.
You got burnt out?
On tournaments.
Sure.
I got burnt out on traveling and shooting in tournaments.
Yeah.
It was a 3-4 year span there. I got burnt out on shooting tournaments.
You were everywhere all the time.
Yeah, I just got burnt out on them. It was a lot. Sleepless nights. And it might sound funny, but you hear, I was away from my family a lot. I was away from my daughters when they were growing up a lot.
Yeah.
And I did. I got burnt out from shooting in tournaments. I loved it. I loved the tournament atmosphere. I loved the competition. I loved that feeling you get in your stomach before takeoff and coming back to win.
Anxious edge that
I miss that a lot.
Yeah.
I still do shoot in some tournaments, but I don't shoot in, I'm not traveling and shooting in tournaments. We're just shooting in local WB tournaments here, and I love it.
Yeah.
I did get burnt out a little bit in the tournament aspect of it and shooting in that stuff. But Lakey, with that being said, I still feel like a little kid in a candy store when I am loading up the boat and hooking it up to the truck, and we're going down to Castle Rock, or we're heading over to Green Bay, or I'm heading down to Kentucky, or I'm heading to Florida on a gator hunt. Yeah, or I'm heading down, to shoot some other state, the Illinois or whatever. I still feel like a kid in a candy store, loading up, packing up, getting my gear ready, going to that body of water. I love it. Yeah. I still get jacked up.
One of the most immaculate vibes for me, Matt, is usually when you and I go down and shoot somewhere, we always stop at a gas station and fill up the truck or fill up the boat, whatever, grab a bite to eat, whatever we got to do. And just, sitting there filling the truck up or the boat up, and it's, it's kind of reaching that sunset time of night, and it's a beautiful night, and you're just like, we're about to go shoot fish.
Yeah.
That vibe is like, this is freaking awesome.
Absolutely.
Really cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that you're still in your 10th year of bowfishing, and you're just as excited as your first year. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yep, absolutely.
But I will tell you, and this is no different than hunting.
Okay. I've got an interesting note on hunting.
Hunting rabbits.
Yeah.
When I was a kid,
yeah,
I wanted to go out and I wanted to fill my little bag in my backpack with every bunny that I saw.
Sure. Yeah.
When I was deer hunting, I wanted to shoot all the deer that I saw.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I shot the first one that I saw.
Sure.
I didn't wait. I wasn't patient. I shot the first buck that I saw. I shot the first doe that I saw.
Yep.
And I wanted to just shoot and get those critters.
Yep.
When I first started bowfishing, I wanted to fill the barrels and fill everything up.
Same way. Yep.
It happens in small game hunting. It happens in deer hunting.
Yep.
And it happens in regular fishing. It happens in bowfishing.
Yep.
I've changed.
Yep. You have. I've seen the change.
Changed.
To be honest with you, I've noticed it over the last 8 years.
Yep. I have changed. I like to target certain species, certain size. I like to look for certain size. Like I said, bowfishing with Lance Brantley is boring.
Yeah. Right.
But I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Trophy hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that happens to mostly all people in their hunting careers and fishing careers.
Right.
You go through those stages.
Yep.
I think there's 4 stages that you go through.
Okay.
You know?
Sure. Yep.
Something like that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's a good point there, Matt.
What about you? Are you burnt out on bowfishing?
I don't know. I am totally not. But you obviously you've bowfished and traveled so much more than I have. I've never been through that burnout phase of shooting tournaments every weekend and that aspect of things. But something that I find interesting, and it's interesting that you brought up hunting, because for me it's the same way with whitetail hunting every fall. Mm-hmm. Knowing when to go bowfishing or hunting is just as important as knowing when not to go hunting or bowfishing.
Right.
It's more to a phase now where it's like, you know what? It's getting right. The weather's right. We can take a camera down there and film. That's when it's like, all right, awesome.
Right.
We can't go out 3 nights in a week. We got to work the next morning. We got to be here at 6 o'clock. We're gonna be tired. And if you do that 2 or 3 times a week, we're gonna reach a point where we're gonna be like, oh my gosh, what are we doing here?
Exactly.
But if one of those nights lines up better than the rest, throw all your apples into that basket that night and go nuts with it.
Right.
And try to do that.
Exactly.
You don't have to go every single night as much as we would all love to do that. And it takes a while in the hunting aspect of things and bowfishing to be able to wrap your head around that.
Yep. Exactly.
When it's October 30th and I'm in the deer woods, but the wind's wrong, and it's 55 degrees outside, it hurts me not to be in the woods. But I know that I'm going to probably do more damage than I am good. And not going that night is going to make when the next time when the conditions are right is going to make it that much better.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing that for sure is good. One little side note on that, Matt. You said that you've changed over your years of bowfishing. You like to target certain species, certain size of fish, whatever. Just if anybody is ever on the boat with Matt when you're down in Kentucky shooting buffs, do not shoot at gar that are rolling close to the boat, because you will get. You won't necessarily get a dirty look, but all of a sudden you'll just shoot at a gar. Matt will be zoned in. I'll be like, "Oh, look at that little gar!" I'll shoot at it, and I'll just hear like a dummy shooting gar. Trying to shoot a freaking 80-pound buff, and this dummy's over here
making noise.
He's over here shooting at pencils.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Then it's even worse when that said person sees a gar and shoots it and brings up a 6-foot log.
I smoked it though.
You smoked it.
Oh, I smoked them. We
couldn't even get the old QT out of that thing.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. All right. Next question here. Kenny Wheeler. Did you survive the Wisco Wild Man?
Yes, I did.
We had so many Wisco Wild Man questions on this post.
Absolutely, but I had a great time.
That's good.
And like I said, going with Maverick in his new boat was awesome. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, next one here. Cale Goodwin wrote in, what are some tips for finding big buffs? In Oklahoma, we are shanking grass carp, commons, northern hogsuckers, and all the gar you can wish for. We shoot plenty of river buffs and some small ones on lakes, but still have never seen lunkers. Thanks. Hashtag Team Retriever. That's a cool hashtag.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. And I'll be shanking grass carp every day if I had the chance.
Yeah, that doesn't sound so bad. He's got some decent fish to go shoot.
Heck no. Kale, you're in good hands if you're doing that, man. I wish I could have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
But first off, Schmitty,
it's going to sound obvious, but it's true.
You got to have water that holds big buffs.
Yeah. Yep.
That's number one. If you're shooting a body of water that is stunted and has 10 to 20 pound buffs, you're probably not going to shoot a 50-pound buff.
Right.
You're just not.
Yep. Which can be a hard thing to,
accept.
If you're seeing a bunch of 10 and 20 pound buffs, it's going to be hard to not go back there, but if you're looking for those big fish, you got to change your plans.
Yep. And that might mean traveling out of state.
Right.
Or going to a body of water that is holding bigger fish.
Right. Yep.
Because not every body of water holds big fish.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we were looking at a certain body of water here, Schmitty, just yesterday. And we looked at the DNR's webpage.
Yep. Oh, yes.
What was the average weight of common carp in that body of water? Because they said it was loaded with them.
Yeah. They're having all kinds of problem with the insane number of common carp in this lake. Naturally, Matt and I get very excited about it.
Yep. So we start doing something.
We do a little bit of research. And what we found is that of the hundreds and hundreds of fish that they surveyed, the average weight for a common carp was 10 pounds.
Right.
It was 10 pounds.
It was a bigger body of water,
It was a bigger body of water. That tells you that almost all of those fish are going to be stunted, and it's going to be really hard to find a 30-pounder in a lake that's stunted with 10-pound fish.
Exactly. Yeah. Right here in our backyard, the big old plain flowage.
Yeah, good.
Boat landing is 5 minutes from my house.
Yep.
I don't boat fish it.
Yep.
Because there's small commons in there.
Yep.
I know I'm not going to go out there and shoot I wouldn't even go out there and shoot a 20-pound common probably.
Right. Yep.
So number one, man, you got to have a body of water that holds big buffs there, Kale.
Yeah.
Here in Wisconsin, we mainly have big mouth buffs, and it seems like you can get on them early in the season through when they spawn, but it seems like when they spawn, they move right back out to deeper water.
Yeah.
They just do for some reason. I don't know what it is, but you can get another chance at them in the fall when they'll come back up into some of them shallow. What I said earlier,
I know what you're talking about.
Those 2 to 5 foot flats with weeds that are starting to die off a little bit. Yep. One of the biggest buffs that we put in the AMS boat was shot in September.
Yes, it was.
You can imagine that fish in May.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine how much more weight that fish had in it.
Yeah,
when it was plump.
What that weigh again? I can't remember. 80s,
84,
86 or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Shot that in September.
Yeah.
But Kale, you have to go to waters that have big buffs in it.
Yeah.
Which means you might have to travel out of state or travel 4 or 5 hours away from your home body of water. Because if there's no big buffs in there, you're not going to see them. You're not going to get them because there's none in there.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
No different than walleye fishing.
Yep.
You go to a body of water that has 17-inch walleyes, you're not going to catch a 30-inch walleye probably.
Yeah. Yep. And like we talked about earlier, Matt, too, it took us 2 minutes. We heard about this body of water over in given state that we were talking about. It took us 2 minutes to go do some research on it, and we found out that, okay, there's a lot of fish there, but maybe it's not going to be the size of fish that we're looking for. Use the internet, too.
Yep.
Research.
Right.
There's going to be, if it's a bigger body of water especially, there's going to be articles written about the fish that are in it. 100%. It could be a DNR fike netting survey where they talk about, you always see that all the time up north in Wisconsin.
Yes.
You look at the fike netting and they list the biggest of each species that they had. They're going to be doing that with whatever fish that they fike net in that body of water.
Correct.
So if you're looking through and here, there's a lake that maybe has some fish in it, but not, it's got some buffs in it, but I know there's not a lot of them. And you go look and here one of the fike net fish was 50 pounds. Okay.
Ding, 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 ding.
You might not shoot 50 fish in a night.
Right.
But you might shoot a 50-pounder.
Right.
That could be huge.
You want numbers or quantity?
Exactly.
Or quality?
Yeah. Yeah. Quantity or quantity.
Right.
Which one's more valuable to you? Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yep.
And like I said, I'll look at states that I'll look at, if I'm traveling to a certain body of water, I'll go to the BAA website and I'll look to see what lakes have state record fish on them.
Yep.
Or I'll even look at the hook and line.
Hook and line is another great thing. If you can't really find the information bowfishing wise, look at the hook and line. Those fish are there.
They're going to list the lake that fish was caught on.
Yep, they have to. Yeah.
So if you're in Oklahoma, do a little digging, find out where some lakes are that might have some bigger buffs in them.
Yep.
Do some searching on the old Google web.
Mm-hmm.
And you might have to travel a little bit, but you will find out where some of these lakes are that are holding bigger buffs.
Absolutely.
Because not every lake has them.
No. Nope. And a little side thing that you can do that will never hurt your chances. I hear that if you stash a moon pie somewhere in your boat, the average weight of your fish will go up 5 pounds.
It has to be banana.
It has to be Banana-Rama moon pies.
Yes, even though people freak out if you bring a banana on a boat.
Yes, they do. But it's a moon pie, so it's all good.
Pie, right.
Yes. So next question here. Brandon Kayea, not sure how to pronounce that last name. He says, mud motor, kicker, fan, or troller for tournament fishing, ? For someone wanting to venture out of state for tournaments, how much actual physical scouting do you recommend?
That's a
loaded good question.
Good question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in there. But I'm going to tell you what there, Brandon, all depends on your style and your water system that you're bow fishing.
Situational, always.
Yep. Are you competing in Big 20 or numbers? That's going to make all the world in a difference. Example, 2016 Schmitty.
Yep.
We're down shooting in Kentucky in the BA Worlds that year. We roll in the next day with 804 pounds of buffs. We win, take first place.
Yep.
And our little trolling motor on the boat.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many people came up to me and says, how'd you do that with that trolling motor?
Yep.
You got to chase these things down. How'd you do that with a trolling motor? Get her done.
Yeah, obviously.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's some definite advantages to airboats, kickers, mud motors. You can cover so much more ground.
Yeah.
And that's why I say it. It depends on your style of bow fishing. Are you shooting in Big 20? Are you shooting in numbers? Because you're probably not going to want to be shooting out of a trolling motor boat if you're shooting numbers. All right? You're just going to cover not as much ground as you should be for shooting numbers.
Yep.
If you're shooting a Big 20, it could work for you.
Absolutely.
It could work for you.
Yep.
Here in Wisconsin, the last 2 years shooting in the tournaments, we were shooting out of Jody Begalke's airboat.
Yep.
And I loved it. It was great to get to point A to point B super quick, super fast. Shooting on a Mavericks dual mud motor boat here, the other night was awesome.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yep.
This is the cool part about bow fishing when I go to tournaments and I see all the different rigs and boats.
Yeah.
Guess what, Derrick?
What?
None of them are wrong.
No, they're not. Absolutely not.
None of them are wrong.
Yeah. Yep.
They might look a little funny to you, but to them, it fits their style.
And that's what they're used to.
Yep.
Yeah.
If your style is running the banks and covering a lot of ground, a kicker.
Yeah.
Or a mud motor. If you want to shoot shallow flats and you're in the river system and you're in shallow water a lot, an airboat.
Yep.
If you're shooting the rivers for big heads, well, you better have a trolling motor.
Yeah, right, right.
You know, and that's the beauty of bow fishing. Nothing is wrong.
Yeah.
It depends on your style of bow fishing. I am a slow bow fisher.
Yep.
Except when I get nervous and aren't finding any fish, and I start.
Then it gets a little
faster.
Yep. Yeah.
But like I said, you know, and as far as scouting goes on that, Brandon, shooting out of state tournaments, you got to have at least 4 days of scouting.
Okay, 4 days roughly.
Because, and that's even cutting it short these days, because years ago, of course, when they had a tournament, it was on one lake.
Yep.
Where now because there's so many teams getting in these big, larger tournaments, you got to have more water to cover.
Yep. Otherwise, it'd be bumper boats.
So you might need a whole week to scout all those different bodies of water if you want to do it properly.
Yep.
Or you got to have a couple buddies that bring their boats too, and now one
effort.
goes here, one goes there.
Yeah. Yep.
Next night, one goes here, one goes there.
Yep.
But I would say at least 4 nights to give you a good idea of where you should be able to find fish and to look for fish.
Yeah. And I think something too, Matt, that you could do to get into what we're talking about here. Finding the right water is just as important as crossing off the wrong water.
Yes.
Being able to eliminate water
Absolutely,
is huge.
Schmitty.
And if you say you don't have the time to have 4 nights of scouting, okay, you're going out of state, you're wanting to shoot a tournament, say you got 2 nights of scouting. Kind of like what we talked about earlier. If in those 2 nights you find a little kind of a pattern of where fish are holding, okay, just try to be able to replicate those on a map somewhere to hit on that milk run the night of the tournament to try to replicate that.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
just use what you know
to
go out there and try to, make the most efficient use of your time while you're out there.
And one lesson that's very hard to do is to leave fish to go find more fish. It's hard to do that.
Yeah.
It really is.
Do you always say that you should not leave fish to find fish?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard you say that before on tournament nights.
Because you might think that you guys just aren't in the weight of fish that you need.
Yeah.
And then you go back to weigh-ins, it's like, well, we didn't do that bad.
Right.
Everybody else was struggling that night too.
Yep.
And just for some reason the fish just weren't up or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But then you left at midnight because you were getting the itch and you went and looking for fish and really didn't find nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
It's hard not to do that, but it's hard to leave fish to go find more fish. I will say, with an exception of like here in Wisconsin in the WBA tournaments, you got the 10 bonus fish.
Oh, okay, sure, right. You got to go find those fish.
So you had your buffs and your commons, which were your main 2 species of fish.
Yep.
And then you could add more weight by shooting 10 or 10 dogfish or 5 drum and 5 dogfish.
Sure.
You had your certain species that were like bonus fish.
Yep.
That would be the only instance where you want to leave and go find those fish or go get those fish right away and then go shoot your other big 20.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do. It really is hard to do that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's hard to leave fish to go find more fish.
Yeah. Yeah. Next one here, Matt, from James Hauser. What, in your opinion, is the best boat setup to shoot from?
Same thing.
Yeah.
I love them all.
No wrong answer.
That comes right back to what I just said to Brandon. That depends on your style.
Mm-hmm.
Your style. There's nothing wrong with any of them. I myself, I like shooting out a troller. I like to go and work slow.
Sure.
I'm just a slow bow fisher. Now, of course, when I'm shooting a tournament out of airboat, I love that also.
You're zipping along. Yeah.
Yeah. I really don't think I will say that I am seeing a change in bow fishing where, it was you had to have a fan.
Right.
Years ago, a fan is what you needed.
Yep.
Then it was the kicker rigs.
Sure. Yep.
And now it seems like mud motors are kind of the thing here as of late.
Yep.
Mud motors and kickers are kind of the things here as of late. That just seems like the popular thing right now. And you see that change in those curves.
Yeah.
Like I said, years ago, it was like the fans were the ticket. You had to have a fan,
Yep.
Yep. But none of them are wrong. Like I said, shoot out of tournaments of Jody's airboat. We go filming in our troller, use a fan sometimes. And I was just in Maverick's mud motor, dual mud motor, and that thing was awesome.
That was just as awesome as anything else.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very cool. It's kind of like, you know, it's constant, that evolution of a sport.
Yep.
Constantly. Things fade out, then they fade back in because there's a certain avenue that you can use them to be more successful. And that just is a revolving door of things that change. So.
Are you shooting rivers? Are you shooting big heads? Is that what you're targeting, big heads? Well, you're not going to want an airboat.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Right.
You're not going to want a fan.
Yep.
You know, you want a trolling motor that works out there for that.
Yep.
Do you live in a state where you're shooting a lot of grassies? You want an airboat to chase them down a little bit because you might want to chase them down or chase down some buffs or push some fish around with a kicker motor.
Right.
Make fish porpoise a little bit.
Yep.
It all depends on the style. So really, there's no. This was the best setup.
Right.
Because they all work. They all have their purpose.
Yeah.
It all depends on your location and your style of bow fishing.
Absolutely. Like, for example, Matt, when we're shooting daytime fish here in Wisconsin, we're mostly trolling motor.
Yes.
That's what we're using.
Absolutely.
You know, and especially when it comes to the aspect of filming, we don't want that extra noise, but daytime fish, we're pretty much trolling the whole time, finding those fish. So, yeah, whatever the situation calls for, you got to be able to adapt to the situation that you're in.
Like I said, I'm sorry I can't point and say this is the best because to me, I don't think there is the best.
Yeah.
They all have their purpose.
Yep. Yep. That's cool. That's cool. This next question, Matt, is from a fellow by the name of, I think it is Maverick Riley.
Yeah.
He says, I want to know where the big buffs are at this year.
The Wisconsin Wild Man, of course.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't think Maverick needs any help on that as he does pretty good on his own.
Yeah.
But I will say he is on the water more than anyone I know.
Yeah.
He just sent me a snap 2 weekends ago. It was Sunday afternoon. He sent me a picture of his face. I was like, oh.
Yes.
Looked like a zombie. He says, haven't slept in 4 nights. I'm like, good grief, Maverick.
Yeah. And then what he sent a picture of later that night? Shooting fish.
Yeah.
So
he knows where the fish are. You don't need any help, Maverick.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing and get some sleep, buddy.
Yeah. Yep. Next one here, Matt, is another one from Clint Murray. Clint says, could you explain a numbers shoot? I know it's about putting the most fish in the boat as possible, but how is it possible to boat that many fish in one night? What kind of species are targeted? Is there different equipment involved / allowed? I just can't wrap my head around how many fish in one day / night. Same here, Clint.
When I first started going to tournaments, these guys would come in with these numbers tournaments, and I'm like, no way.
Yeah. How?
That's impossible. How are they doing that?
Yeah.
That can't be right.
Yeah.
They're cheating.
Yeah.
Come on, you can't shoot that many fish in one night.
Yeah.
And guess what? They do.
They can, and they do.
And they do. They're darn good shooters.
Yeah.
Number one, Clint, a numbers tournament is where the teams go out and shoot as many fish as they can during tournament hours and come back to weigh in with those fish that they have.
Yep.
All right. Now, typically, when you're shooting numbers, you're not targeting big fish because big fish take too long to get in.
Right.
And they add too much weight to the boat.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you're not targeting their bigger fish at all.
Yep.
They're shooting drum, quillbacks, dink gar, other gar.
Mm-hmm.
They're shooting the small shad.
Yep.
They're shooting the smallest fish that they can go out and scout and find.
Yeah.
A couple years back, I was watching a video of a numbers team that was shooting in the Worlds, and they showed me a video of what they found. And the amount of drum that they had found was just
ridiculous,
mind-boggling.
Okay. Yep.
Of what they found, you know, they're not looking anywhere near where I'm looking for a big 20, hardly at all.
Yeah. Yep. Totally different areas.
Yes. Yep. So yes, we actually figured out that 1 year for Worlds, that team shot, I can't remember how many fish it was, but it was just like 700 and some.
Oh,
God.
God.
A crazy amount of number.
Yeah.
And they figured out it was like a fish a minute.
Oh, my gosh. That's insane.
Yep.
That's insane.
They don't miss.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't miss.
Too.
They're shooting at small fish.
Yeah. Yep.
Most of them are drawing back, 18 pounds.
Yep.
They're not like me where I shoot a 10, 12 pound common. I get in the boat and I sit there and I twist my arrow shaft or I poke it through and I turn my tip and I release it out.
Right. No.
They're shooting those fish with such little tiny barbs.
Yeah, they'll even grind the barbs down.
They'll grind the barbs right down to nothing. And when they get that fish in the boat, they'll just like slap it off their arrow.
Yep.
Or they have these fish pullers.
Yeah.
Where they'll put the arrow between this specially made puller.
Yep.
And they'll lift up on that arrow and then the arrow just pulls right out of the fish and then drops into the barrel.
Yep.
They move so fast
Yep.
and so quick through the course of a night. It's something to see. It really is.
Yeah.
Because they're really good at that.
Oh, yeah.
Those top number teams are incredible.
They're insane. The
Yep.
amount of energy that they must expend in a night of shooting is ridiculous.
Yep. There's no talking. There's no stopping for a break.
Yeah.
It's balls to the walls.
Yep.
Till you're loading that boat back up.
Yeah. And I know, too, just a lot of guys shooting a mega mouth, doing it.
Yes.
They got that drag lock tight. There is no playing that fish. They shoot that fish, make contact, T-bar pulled, whip it into the boat.
Yep.
Loaded up and ready to rock and roll. I know a lot of numbers guys like shooting that megamouth because they can just absolutely whip fish in. Pair that with 28 inches of line per crank, and you're as fast as you possibly can with that setup.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, they're not targeting the big fish at all, Clint. They're targeting the smaller fish. They don't want all that weight in their boat. And yes, they do it. And they're darn good at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They're
so yeah,
it's impressive.
It is. It is.
It's
really
impressive.
Is. Yeah.
It's impressive what they do.
Mm-hmm. Next one here, Matt. Eric Goodwin. This guy just keeps making it. This name just keeps popping up here. People are just obsessed. How many times out with Maverick Riley before Matthew Schillinger ends up in the drink?
Well, it almost happened on this last trip here.
You fell the wrong way.
I did. I fell the wrong way.
Yeah.
Thank God I fell the wrong way, which was no, it's kind of my fault. I saw that we were cutting through a cut.
Sure.
From one section to another section. It narrowed up. Cattails really narrowed up on one side, and there was a bunch of floating cattail
bog type of
bunch of pieces came together and they were stuck together there. So when we kind of planed up a little bit to go across that area there, I was standing on the deck, of course, and when you hit stuff like that on like an airboat style boat, it like hydroplanes.
Oh, really?
It's like a car when you hit water. It kind of like you can almost feel like the boat lift up and it just goes like it's right on ice. It's super smooth.
Yeah.
But then when you come off of that and go back down to the water, it's that
momentum change.
There's a momentum change.
Yep.
So I kind of lost my balance and I was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I grabbed Garrett on his jacket and kapunk, I fell right backwards down into the fish pit.
Right into the fish pit.
Barrel, yeah.
So
I didn't go in the water.
Well, that's good. Yeah. That's good.
But Maverick did say on that, he did comment on saying third time's a charm.
Third time's a charm. Yeah, you better watch out the next time you're out with him. He's going to make it a goal of his. Yep. Garrett did tell me that Maverick said, hold on. And he said that Matt grabbed onto Garrett. He said, yeah, Matt held on to me. And then we went into the barrels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. But Mitch was also in the barrel.
Oh, he was? Oh, so it wasn't just you. Yeah. Okay, I gotcha. Mitch went down in there as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Donovan Remp, wondering, do you think that Worlds would ever be on the East Coast? Maryland, Virginia? Numbers are there and weight, from Grassies to Blue Cats. Maybe even add Stingrays to the mix, or an X limit on Stingrays for Big 20?
That sounds like a great spot.
Sounds like fun,
Sounds like a great spot.
Yeah.
They actually almost had it out there a couple years ago. Christina put a bid in for the Worlds to be out there, and they almost won that.
Yeah, it was close. I remember it being close.
Yep. If the people put in the bid, there's always a good chance. But first, you have to have a good team behind you. You need to present that. When they'd have their selections up for the Worlds to be selected in certain areas, you have to have you need to present it in a good style, a good format, good location, species of fish that can be shot, and you need to make a good impression.
Yeah. Yep. You got to have a good presentation for this.
Yes. Yep. You have to have everything done, because for the Worlds, the people the people on the board of the Worlds don't organize and run these tournaments. It's up to the people that want to put a bid in for that.
Right.
So you need to have a good crew.
Yep.
Location, where's everyone going to be taking off from? Red zones.
Yep.
That all makes a huge difference. But to make a good impression goes a long way. So people have voted on that. Do your best to get the votes needed. For example, John Laska that year in Minnesota did a phenomenal job of doing that. And people remember that stuff. Lance Wheeler and Rich Porter, when it was in South Dakota, did a phenomenal job raising money for that. Justin Cook and his crew down in Kentucky right now are doing. So you need to be willing to put in the work to make it what it is, because I'm not kidding you. When John Laska had that, when he won the bid for the Worlds in Minnesota, he put up a pretty good bar as far as raising the extra money, because before, it was just the money that was brought in from entry fees for your payouts.
Yep.
And that's all it was. You had your numbers and you had your big 20.
Yep.
Or you could be in both. Well, what John Laska started doing is he started making these auctions.
Yes.
Those were people were making money, and then that money was going right back into the kit for the funding for the payouts.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you had Lance Wheeler and Rich Porter that did it over there in South Dakota. Same thing. And now I think with Justin Cook, I heard they're like over $50,000.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all their auction doing. So you need, if you're going to be putting in a bid and making a good impression that, hey, you got to come out here. We're going to shoot the tournament. We're going to have the worlds out here. It's going to be a great time. You need to make a good impression, and you need to be willing to put up the work. You need to have good people behind you for weigh-ins, registration, parking, location. That stuff all has to be figured out. Make a good impression, and it just might be out on the East Coast.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great answer. That's a great answer. The bar has been set, like you said.
Yes.
The last couple Worlds tournaments have been ridiculous of how well and efficiently run they have been, especially with the marketing behind it leading up to the event, for sure. For sure.
One thing that always takes the longest at these tournaments is weigh-ins.
Yep.
You need to have a good crew to do the weigh-ins, and because you don't want them to be sitting out there for a long period of time after they've been on the water.
They've been up for a day and a half.
30 hours they're up and stuff like that there. So you need to have a good plan ahead.
Yeah.
And you might be able to win that bid.
Absolutely.
I think Donovan might be suggesting he might be doing some type of bid or something like that.
Donovan.
I want to go bowfish out on the East Coast. We're going to shoot stingray down, put them down to Barrel Town.
Well, we just gave him the blueprint. So there you go, Donovan. Great question, by the way.
Absolutely.
Great question.
Schmitty.
Yes. Oh boy, this isn't.
There was before we came up here to do the podcast, I took one quick look just to make sure there's no more questions that were asked out there.
Yep.
Reese Bakken did ask a question.
Okay.
Did you happen to see that?
No, I did not.
All right, you want to, right here is Reese's question right here.
Reese Bakken,
good
friend of ours. We've known Reese for a while. There's a very well thought out question here. I've actually been wondering this same thing for a very long time. How many rolls of toilet paper does Matt keep in the boat? Think the dude needs to take a probiotic for gut health. Needs to take a probiotic for gut health. That's a fantastic question, Reese. Matt, how many rolls of TP do you keep in the boat?
One.
Just one?
One.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes. And I will answer that question. I have only done the number 2 in all my years of bow fishing once. On the boat.
There's a good story to go with.
There was a good story to go with that. I think we told it in an
okay,
podcast there. But I only did number 2 on the Bowfishing boat once.
That's the old Bubble Gut story.
It was the Bubble Gut story, yeah. That was, and of course it was the Bass Pro US Open tournament that night that we were in. But I have a question for Reese. What in the heck is a probiotic for gut health?
It's got to be a vitamin or something to make sure that your guts are all right.
So I went and I searched on Google, probiotic. There actually is a probiotic for gut health.
Reese did his research.
So
he did his
my
research.
Question is, I want to know does Reese have bubble gut?
Oh, maybe Reese has the bubble gut.
Maybe Reese has a little bit of bubble gut.
Yep. I bet you he does have the bad bubble gut.
Because I had to look up probiotic for gut. I had no idea.
And he knew all about it already.
Yes.
Oh.
So maybe, how many toilet paper rolls does Reese have?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe he's just got a little installed toilet in that boat.
One of those
emergency situations.
Yeah.
Yep.
But no, I only have one roll on the boat, and it's more for other people because I've only done it once on the boat.
Okay, I got you.
Yep.
All right. Well, there you go, Reese.
Yeah.
So not quite probably what you were expecting a whole pack of them. Probably.
Sorry. Good question, though.
Yep.
So now we're going to move on with this right here. So this is something new that we're going to try to do every podcast.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. This is going to be our Fish You Wish segment.
Fish You Wish.
The Fish You Wish.
Wow.
Where we'll be talking about a fish that you wish you shot.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this podcast, Fish You Wish, we've got John Haw. Is that the last name? H-A-W?
Hawthorne.
I got you. John Hawthorne from Arkansas. Shot a 78.01 pound grass carp. Oh,
There's a fish you wish you shot.
yeah. That was on April 1st, 2021. So we'll be throwing this back to all kinds of big fish that you wish you shot.
Right. So this is kind of funny. He shot that on April 1st. I wonder when he called his buddy and said, "Hey, I just shot a 78-pound big head." Everybody probably says
Grass carp, but
or grass carp.
Yeah.
Everybody's probably laughing at him, say April Fool's, buddy.
yeah, probably, yeah, whatever. And then they get a picture. Holy cow, he wasn't kidding.
Right.
Yeah, cool. I like the fish you wish. That's a good one.
Well, we might make a new jingle for it, like we did.
We
with
should.
The,
We
with
totally
the BA
should.
and
Yes.
stuff like that. Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
you know what that sound?
Oh my gosh, my throat is dry.
I was gonna say you're gonna lose your voice.
I need to have a little slug of water
out
here.
of your AMS Yeti.
Oh, my AMS Yeti. It's a beautiful looking Yeti.
Yes.
You've got the AMS Yeti. We got Megamouth Yetis, of course.
All
as well.
available on the websites.
Oh,
sure.
that was a fun podcast, Schmitty.
That was very fun. I like these. I like these
I like
Q&As.
that a lot too.
Yep.
Good time. We're at 1 hour and 20 minutes so far.
Yeah,
Wow.
that seemed like a half hour.
Did. I love it. Q&A. Thank you all for asking these questions. I hope we helped you out. I had a great time. It was a lot of fun, Schmitty.
Absolutely, it was.
Yep. Brought to you by AMS Bowfishing and
Megamouth Bowfishing as well, and Designs Leatherworks, Efficiency Lights from Outdoor Innovations USA. Love our sponsors. Thank you so much. They make awesome stuff.
Yep.
Awesome stuff for all those bowfishers out there.
And best of luck to all you right now down there in Louisiana, scouting for the that's all, folks. The Bass.
That's exactly what that sounded like. Even.
The Bass Pro U.S. Open down there in Gonzales, Louisiana. Be safe out there and find some big old fish. And come and talk to me down there at the Bass
Absolutely.
Pro.
Yep.
So with that, what do you think, Schmitty?
I think we should wrap it up. I'm ready to rock and roll.
All
here,
right.
Matt.
So from all of us here at AMS Bowfishing, we wish you the best of luck. And remember, aim low.
Think big. Thanks for listening, guys.